I'm sure that's really pleasant for all the listeners out there. Monday morning on their commute. This podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Before and After the TV Shows podcast.
Word. Nice catch.
We are doing The Last of Us episodes 1 and 2, hence the clicking to start. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know they're called clickers.
Yep. And that's the exact noise they make.
A little bit of background on this one just before we get into it. Antony has played The Last of Us Part 1.
I have.
Not Part 2?
Not Part 2. And I haven't played Last of Us 1 since it came out.
Okay. And I think I saw the first mission, but we'll get into that later. Other than that, no real knowledge of it.
Yeah. So I feel like we're going into this with a decent amount of blindness in terms of like predictions, at least.
Yes. So The Last of Us, starring Pedro Pascal, Hollywood's hot man.
Yeah.
Previously featured on
The
The Mandalorian in this show. And,
Narcos.
Yeah. Game of Thrones.
What was the big? He had a big movie role. Oh, Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah. Kingsman.
Oh yeah.
And Game of Thrones reunion with the actress who plays Lyanna Mormont, I think. Chuck, who did she play in Game of Thrones? Is it Lady Lyanna? Lyanna Mormont? Something like that. Why don't you go ahead and look that up for me? Before we get started, any side reviews, TV show side reviews? I do have one.
Sure.
I got Andor.
Oh yeah. You finally
Incredible.
one of the 8 people that's finished that series.
Antony, it is fucking incredible.
Really?
Like a strong 9.5 out of 10.
The best post Lucas era.
The best thing Star Wars has produced in my lifetime.
So better than Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Better than Attack of the Clones.
Better than Revenge of the Sith. It Rogue One glimpses it.
Wow.
This show is something else.
Really?
Watch it.
Okay. This is like
viewers, listeners, watch it.
It's very rare that you get like this like insistent or fired up about.
Yeah,
like,
I get this. I got fired up about Stranger Things season 4.
So you say 10 out of 10 or 9.5?
9.5.
Okay.
Chuck, have you seen it?
No, but Lady Lyanna Mormont was the young lady there.
Let's go. I'm on a fucking heater right now.
You're fired
I'm fired up.
Yeah.
I'm fired up. What you got for me? TV shows?
What have I
Anything?
watched?
Movies?
Oh yeah, I finished season 1 of The Leftovers. I know. I've been telling you. Do you know about the show?
No.
So it's like goes underground, like nobody really knows about it. But I guarantee you right now, Chuck, do me a favor, look up best TV shows of the past decade or of the 2010s.
The Wire, Breaking
No,
Bad.
of the 2010s. Yeah, Breaking Bad's gonna be on there.
Yeah.
I will be shocked if The Leftovers is in the top 10.
You watch what's the Disney Plus show The Bear or whatever?
We've got that slated next,
Okay,
but we're on Leftovers season 2 right now.
Okay.
So basically, it's Damon Lindelof. It was his follow-up to Lost.
Okay.
And he basically described it as Lost, like the same kind of themes and characters in terms of it's like about a group of people in a certain place.
Oh, Terry O'Quinn's in it?
No Terry O'Quinn. They've been very careful for no Lost stars. But basically, it takes place in this world kind of akin to Avengers Infinity War, where all of a sudden, one day, 2% of the entire world's population just vanished.
Oh.
And nobody knows why. And Damon Lindelof went on record before. He's like, before the show came out, he said, just so you know, we're never going to tell you why it happened. Like, that's not what the show's about. It's about
like human stories.
It's about that not knowing and accepting that you'll never know. And how you can move on. Because chances are not many people, if 2%, they do a whole news report at the start where it's like, chances are you don't even know anyone or no one in your immediate family will disappear. But there's this one lady who the basic setup is like both her children and her husband disappeared.
Oh, wow.
So it's about her trying to like move on with her life. And Justin Theroux is the star of the series.
Okay.
He plays this cop, like a sheriff of the local town.
Yep.
And it's about him just trying to like keep the town under control because there's these cults rising up that are all focused on like the people are gone. So like we're left. Like those were the chosen ones, like the holy ones. So
Like
yeah,
kind of like the Rapture.
exactly. So it's a very beautiful series, like interconnected stories that will just blow your mind.
Oh,
Like,
all right.
Yeah.
34 out of 35.
But it made the list.
It made the list.
It made the list.
34.
Out of 35. It's the second last, but it made the list.
I'm choked about that.
Jane the Virgin.
What's the publication?
Harper's Bazaar.
Give me like Rolling Stone or Variety.
Forbes or something. Okay, let's get back to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I got some fast questions for you.
Hit me.
Question number 1. Are we getting a PlayStation Studios intro? Last seen in Uncharted.
No.
Really?
No, this show's too good for that.
Question 2: are we getting any internal character voice monologue? Like, what's that? This could be useful.
This stinks. No, I don't think so, and I really hope not. That's not this kind of show. You're in Uncharted land right now.
Well, I have heard one thing about this show.
Okay.
And that it feels like a video game. From the movements,
Oh wow,
camera angles.
That's actually like surprising in a good way, because I don't just want a TW. What is it?
TWD.
I don't want just another show that's gloomy and just because it's like shot on a low angle and it's grainy, people just assume it's like good. I want a show that's like unique and thrilling and exciting, as well as like being a good character story.
Yeah, like when I think Last of Us, for some reason the thing that keeps popping into my head, and correct me if I'm wrong, this might be Uncharted, is like kind of like the dodging for cover, sliding along the wall,
right.
dodging for cover. So I think we're gonna see a lot of that, maybe.
Right.
Like blind firing. I don't know if they're shooting in this.
That's something that like Uncharted didn't really do that much of.
No, they just did a lot of like jumping, which is
Yeah.
fine, but like
just like weird characterization and people talking in strange ways.
yeah.
This needs to be better than that. 'Cause that was
Well,
like,
I mean, we can get into. I saw the IMDb scores.
yeah, it's like the highest of all time or something.
Yeah, like first episode's 9.2. I just caught a glimpse. Second episode just dropped.
Yeah.
I caught a glimpse. Do you want to know what it is?
9.6.
10.
Wow.
A fucking 10. Like, are you kidding me?
And that kind of ties in, Chuck, whenever you get a sec as well, I'd love to know the budget for the series. I know it's up there in the upper echelon. Like, they've put a lot of time into this. I want to get behind it because it's shot locally, Vancouver, Calgary.
Oh, really? Okay.
Most of it was shot in other places as well, but yeah, so it's a big local thing, and I want to just feel like we keep hearing like TV shows are the new movies, so like I want to feel that scope and that yeah, like I don't want to feel like I'm watching a watered down movie. Like I really want to avoid that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of jokes I know you and I have been making in the past couple of years has been like, we like clown a movie or clown an IP and be like, oh, 10 episode miniseries on HBO. And now this is one that's actually like kind of happening. Like I feel like we probably made a joke about this like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Now it's a reality.
And you know, off the 2 episode reception right now, like could this pave the way for fucking the Aurora's TV show or something,
well,
right?
Prime just commissioned the God of War TV series.
No way.
Yeah, it's official. That's happening on Prime. So like we're entering this era of like gritty TV show video game adaptations. We've got the new Resident Evil season 2 coming soon. I know people can't
Fucking the
wait for
first
that.
season was fucking abysmal.
They just can't get a fucking win, eh? They just
Oh my
keep trying.
God.
There's been like 10 movies.
Fucking hell. Subscription costs are on the rise, but with it we get good content.
Yep.
So
And this is Crave, so like I feel very safe in their hands always, or HBO. for
HBO,
American
yeah.
listeners. Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm super fired up to watch it. In terms of like predictions, like do you kind of know the general gist of the plot? You want me to give you a very like spoiler free kind of rundown of the situation?
yeah, sure. I know it. Actually, I know there's zombies, but they're called clickers. What is their thing?
So their thing is it's like a fungi spread
okay.
Epidemic basically.
Okay.
It starts, and it was all inspired. I was just looking at this before. Someone who made the video game was watching Planet Earth, and there was a whole segment on this type of fungi that could briefly take over the motor skills of ants to bring the fungi to places that are higher that it can like thrive in. So that's the whole thing with the disease. It's like a very resilient spreading disease that spreads. Like there's like this mist in the air that you can like get infected.
So you gotta wear like a mask kind of thing?
Yeah, and it's basically about a very broken man who's like living in. So there's all these like nomadic towns and sort of like tribes, almost like post-apocalyptic tribes.
Yeah.
And he like lives in with one of them. He ends up getting entangled with this girl.
Yeah.
Kind of a bit of a Logan and Weapon X situation.
Yeah.
It's basically about their journey across like the United States with this whole thing going on.
Okay, yeah. So I think the cut scene I saw, and correct me if I'm wrong, I always edit this out, is the first scene is like basically how you meet this girl and what happens.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And I'm super curious. Like, my big question is like, is this going to be like a faithful adaptation, or are they going to take a lot of liberties, taking in new directions? Because
that's the first question actually I have for you. I feel like kind of like The Witcher did this, but like time jumping. So we're going to cycle between day 0 and day 365 and just kind of follow those 2 timelines.
I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be very chronological.
Okay.
I think you'll
I'd prefer that.
Yeah. Like the series, or like the video game, sorry, you're going to get long passes of time. Like you'd be playing the game and then it would be like the next season. From what I remember.
Really?
Like a lot of time passed from the start. It wasn't just like one stop journey.
Mhm.
So like you'd have these moments where they were very cold and like broken towards each other, and then it would fade through all this time. And they have this routine and they're very close and they've like learned things.
Okay, nice.
So I think we'll see a lot of like time passing, but no time jumping.
Okay. One concern I have is I really dislike child actors. I find
I mean, tell me from what you've seen from her, like, is she an exception or does she have her wobbly moments?
to be honest, in Game of Thrones, you don't really see much from her. She kind of plays this like she's like a young queen.
Okay.
So she plays this like imposing figure, but she's in
Pretty
like
complex
I don't know.
role. I want to see some.
No,
some
she's
range.
probably got like 4 scenes in the entire show. Yeah, so my concern with child actors, I mean, you guys are pumping Lady Lyanna Mormont's tires, is that too many times they're unable to perform and it's not immersive. I would say Jojo Rabbit did it well. Interstellar, Mackenzie Foy did it well,
Right.
as young Murph. So I mean, it can be done. It's just a matter of, you know, it's shot now, right? So
Yeah.
there's no going back.
But yeah, so there are obviously good child actors out there. She gives me a vibe just from her like intensity in the trailer. I was just rewatching it. I'm like, she looks like she's gonna be great. And I
Yeah.
think you're right. Like, this series is anchored. I can tell you the game is anchored around the relationship of these two characters.
Yeah.
And there's so much complexity between them. So she needs to be good. And I feel like that's maybe why the show didn't get off the ground sooner. Is like sometimes you just need that cast member where you're like, okay,
Okay.
now. Because Darren Aronofsky was saying about The Whale. He wrote the script 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't find anyone to play the part. And then he saw Brendan Fraser in this like Brazilian film. I was like, that's my guy.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think this will be like, it'll be like that.
Question about the clickers. In Quiet Place, we know sound is like the attracting thing. Is there like an attracting thing to them? Do they have like a super thing?
I can't. Super thing.
Can they jump really far?
Yeah, they're very aggressive.
Are they all like hive mind brain or something?
I think there's some hivage and there's like different variants. There's
Okay.
ones that blow up like bombs and then
a couple boomers,
there's
eh?
like the scouters that like run around. Oh yeah, they can't see. I think that is kind of their thing.
Okay.
So it is kind of like The Last of Us, or sorry,
A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place.
Okay.
But like what I really want to see is a lot of good practical effects. Because have you seen The Thing? Like John Carpenter's The Thing.
I've seen the remake.
Okay. Well, you know how like special effects are very practical in that movie, like people's faces opening and
Mhm.
shit. They kind of look similar because they're
Yeah,
like
I've seen
spores
that.
and
Yeah,
their
yeah.
faces open. So it'd be cool if we could make the show stand out by having it feel super gritty and real and having those effects be practical.
Is the game scary? We're gonna get horror
It's
elements
scary,
in
yeah.
the show.
There's horrible moments of survival where you're scouting like an empty building with no electricity.
Oh,
And
nice.
you've just got a flashlight
Oh,
and it's
okay.
running out of battery.
Fuck yeah.
And they're fucking scouring around.
You hear them going,
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta like throw stones to distract them and shit. And all of a sudden you just hear and they just grab you and
Jesus
fucking like
Christ.
rip your head off.
obviously, we're going to be comparing it. You already touched on this to The Walking Dead.
Yes. Please don't be The Walking Dead.
I mean, say what you want about The Walking Dead. The first like 2-3 seasons were good, and
Second
then,
season was the only good season of that show.
and then I think it's still going.
No, it just finished, but they've already announced like two.
Yeah, there's like
two
a
spawning
fucking
series.
spinoff. Like
Fear the Walking Dead is on its 8th season.
that's the LA one, right?
That's the spinoff.
That's
with
ridiculous.
8th, and then so what's his name? Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl.
Yeah, what's the actor's name? Norman Reedus.
Nice.
He's got his own show, and there's a trilogy of Andrew Lincoln films coming out.
No. What?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, they're doing a trilogy film series with him and Michonne, I think.
Michonne's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
I got a couple predictions here.
Yeah, go for it.
I think in these first 2 episodes, I've kind of gone a bit more specific with just like, instead of predicting grand plot points, I just want to predict little scenarios.
Yep.
Micro predictions, I call them. Okay, so I think we're going to see sobbing Joel. Like an
Okay.
intense crying scene. Yeah. Like, no, I mean like bad crying.
Ugly crying.
Yeah, but still kind of sick.
Yeah, like I think we're gonna get like a toothbrushing scene.
Okay. Toothbrushing, right. I'll put you down for toothbrush.
Thank you.
Recurring flower symbolism. Couple shots of daisies and then like cuts to like a decrepit
Or like a
weed.
fungus taking it
Yeah,
over.
exactly. Ballsy. I'll get to that in a sec. Someone beaten to death. I think we'll see like an argument
Yeah, is there a lot of
escalate.
human on human violence?
Yeah, there is. So there's this group called, I almost said the Sixers, but that's from Ready Player One. There's a group like that who are like, yeah, like dangerous bandits or
Are
something.
there cannibals in the game?
Yes, there are cannibals.
Ooh.
There's like a cannibal tribe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Are there cars, like motorcycles?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think there may be like trucks. There's like convoy trucks,
Oh yeah.
like all people, like scary militia
Okay,
hanging
yeah.
off them. I think we're gonna get a jammed gun sequence.
Like, God. Definitely a fucking flashlight sequence.
Yeah, flashlight sequence. Group of people playing an instrument to like keep
Keep morale
keep the
high.
kids enthused.
Probably like a silent sleuthing scene, but the little girl like steps on a piece of glass, makes a noise.
Yeah, exactly. One big change from the game. I'm not sure what that will be, but I think they'll try and do one thing like noticeably different, just to let you know, like this isn't all gonna be predictable smooth sailing. All right. What else did I have here?
It can't be that good. I'm just gonna say it.
It's just like
I have no knowledge of the video game, and you think I'm gonna come out of here in 3 hours and be like, oh my god,
that was incredible. I think it's like shows catch fire both ways. Like the opposite happened with Lord of the Rings. I was like, it wasn't that bad, but everyone just couldn't help it.
Everyone just
like,
piled on. It was actually
because you get swayed by like the public opinion.
Outside influence.
Like if Top Gun Maverick had like a 47% on Rotten Tomatoes and you saw the exact same movie, would you come out being like, oh, that was incredible? Would you be like, oh, it was pretty good if it had like quite a few flaws?
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see.
Video game curse. Would this be the first one in your mind to
Well, I think
it?
from what I hear, The Witcher is like really good.
First season was good. I haven't seen anything else. Sonic.
So I wouldn't say the first. Yeah, that seems to like weirdly be loved all of a sudden.
Sonic, yeah, I know.
Right?
Go Jim Carrey, great as Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the first one that maybe you see like Golden Globe nominations,
Yeah.
Emmys, and shit.
I think we touched on this earlier in the episode, but I think it's definitely going to set the precedence for taking beloved IPs and making them in 10 episode long form.
Is this 10 episodes? Is that
10-ish, 8 to 10 or
I'd
whatever.
love it if it was like 6. I
Yeah.
think the shows are a bit long at the moment.
Definitely.
Yeah, like I always find like around 6, 7. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah. Or like episode 7 ends, like, oh, I got 3 more?
Yeah.
I got 3 more to
I
watch?
felt like a finale.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, I got a couple questions for you.
Mhm.
How heavy on the action do you want this show to be?
Doesn't need to be that heavy. I want like a lot of tension though.
Okay.
And I want to be engaged.
You're okay with a slow burn?
slow burn, but I feel like it's gonna be a thriller, and I'm gonna be like nervous. I'm gonna be nervous watching them traverse stuff.
I feel like we'll get lots of like good music in the soundtrack, like old folky
Mhm.
songs, like Johnny Cash, like all
Yeah.
stripped.
Yeah.
Kind of like Breaking Bad in that sense, I guess. And do you think the show is gonna become a worldwide phenomenon?
Sounds like it already has, man. Sounds like we're a little late to the party, to be honest.
That's what we do on this show.
Well, you know what? I'm actually quite excited to watch this. I know first episode's quite long, but strap me in, immerse me in the universe, and fucking sign me up.
Right on. Okay, I have one more question. For you.
Oh, okay.
If you had to guess how many seasons this show will ultimately run for, what would you guess?
2.
There's usually 2.
Yeah, Last of Us Part 1, Last of Us Part 2.
You know they're working on part 3 of the game.
Are they?
I don't know. Naughty Dog's super secretive. Like they're super, and then they said they wanted to like focus less on like known IPs and like only launch original games. But we'll see.
I would say,
We'll see if
honestly,
money
man, like,
talks.
yeah, that's the only thing. Like 2 seasons, but money talks, so maybe it's like 4 or 5.
Yeah, my guess is 3. I think they do 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right on.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys in 3,
2.
1.
And we are back.
Okay, back from the first 2 episodes of The Last of Us.
We are.
Um,
I think the usual is in order.
we want to go out of 10s?
Yeah, I think so. From what
Okay.
we've seen.
3, 2, 1, 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking.
You want me to Coke?
It's fucking
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm pretty like stunned, honestly. Like, just it lived up to the hype for sure.
Like that, but hour 20 plus so 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Fucking flew by.
Yeah, it did. Gripped.
Like I'm not tired at all. It's what?
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
It's like past 11 p.m. and
Yeah.
I'm like,
It was
I'm like, I
adrenaline.
need another
Yeah.
episode.
That was like one of my big points. Is like the big key is like, are you invested? Or do you want to keep watching? And like I'm just so like I would love to watch the next episode.
Yeah,
like
like-
I'm so invested in the story.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It just had everything. Like it had thrills, chills, bit of humor,
Mm-hmm.
acting amazing,
It felt
cinematography
so
great.
human and real.
Yeah. And like I bought the world. Like
Oh,
fully.
yeah.
The presentation of it, the whole just like proportion, the epicness to
Yeah.
it. It was all there.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's dive into it.
Yeah.
Incredible intro.
Yeah.
Starting from even that fucking
It's just intense from minute one, basically.
the interview in the 1986
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, I was hanging on to every word
Yeah.
that this fucking character actor couldn't tell you who he was, but he just delivered.
Yeah. Just a one-off incredible performance.
Yeah.
Like came in, the dialogue was just so eloquently written.
Mhm.
The way, all the talk show hosts were like laughing and joking
Mhm.
along, and he just slowly like got more serious, and
Yeah.
you're kind of with the audience. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Like,
And then, now we flash to 2003.
oh,
And-
and just like the way they sold 2003.
Yeah.
Because like my big point, I was gonna bring it up on this, is like back in the day, be like, oh, this is like a 90s setting or 80s setting.
Mhm.
Like, the 2000s are now like
Yeah.
an old time period where it's like, oh, she's got a DVD. Like,
Yeah, and like everything, even like the packaging of the
Stereo.
watch, the
Yeah.
box packaging was not sleek. It was like this
No,
like clunky, but that was in
yeah,
2003.
exactly. And like the trucks were just a bit different. Like,
Yeah.
the seating, everything, the clothing, like
The cutlery,
Yeah.
the plates, the dishes.
exactly. The
Uh,
music you're hearing, like
Yeah. So we had the lead up in 2003, and like you and I were sitting next to each other on a full couch. We were sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
We couldn't move. We were
Yeah.
so like this feeling of dread and anxious. It was
Yeah.
building and building, and I had seen the first chapter or the first cutscene
Right.
of the game, so I kind of knew what the end goal was gonna happen.
you just didn't know if they were gonna like, are we drawing this out for like a full episode,
Mhm.
or is it happening like anytime now? And I
Yeah.
thought the pacing, they managed it really well. Like,
Yeah.
never got really boring. It always just kept upping the intensity, like foreshadowing a little bit more,
Hmm.
and just building out the characters in a way where you're just like, you're interested in what's going
So
on.
engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to miss anything.
The scene where she's like looking at the DVDs and the old lady's like
Yeah,
turning, I was like, oh my god.
gasping with breath. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was wild.
And then we get the driving scene, which is like such a beautiful, I don't know if beautiful is the right word, but like such
It
a
was
nice
beautiful. Yeah,
homage to video games
Yeah.
where Pedro Pascal's like, go left here,
yeah.
go right. Oh, no.
Barricade.
Yeah. And yeah, and then you get the barricade, and
that
so you
was
gotta go
crazy.
around. I was like, this is like so well done.
Yeah.
A
The
bit
sets
on the
were-
nose, but like honestly, man, like you almost need that.
Yeah, I agree. It didn't shy away from it, but it's like, let's do this the best way we possibly can. Like,
Yeah,
let's
and it-
commit to it fully.
Exactly. And it adds a little artistic flair to it.
Yeah, it does. That's a great way of putting it. Like, yeah, because you wouldn't normally do a TV show quite that way. but
Mhm.
they're not forgetting where they came from, while at the same time, like, expanding upon the characters and the dialogue in like whole new ways.
Yes. And then obviously we get the scene with his daughter.
Yeah, who just gives a great performance,
Great
as well.
performance,
Like,
yeah.
they make you like fall in love with her and care about her right away.
Mhm.
And like, you obviously, like, having played the game, you just know it's coming.
Mhm.
And I feel like from what I remember, like, all the beats they hit are still like the same, but they like change the environments a bit, change the setup, like, in just a really nice way. So like, it's gonna happen, but you're not quite sure how.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, just getting onto the dings. Speaking of that, the sobbing scene, or like
Oh,
when she's
yeah.
dying in front of
Yeah.
him, that was just like so brutal.
Yeah.
Like,
Chills.
so hard to watch. Someone getting beaten to death. We'll kind of touch on that as we go through episode 2 a bit
Mhm.
more. Seeing him just happy with his family, anyone could have guessed that, I guess. No jammed gun, unfortunately.
No, but you did get a.
Beaten to
Was it
death.
like beaten? Wasn't there like a bloodied thing? That was beaten to death.
Yeah.
Now we do after that we do a 20-year time jump,
Yep.
which I don't love.
It had a lot of impact. Like, you were like, oh, 20 years?
Yeah, I know, but now I just can't keep thinking about like 20 years. 20 years is a long time.
Yeah.
And my issues is like it's a bit jarring. Feels almost too long. It raises a lot of questions like how is this fungus still thriving if there's no host? It's been 20 years. Is he still grieving? Obviously, you see in the show he is, but
Yeah.
like, do I buy that? It's been 20 years and you're living this life.
It's like repressed grief, I think.
Yeah, and at 20 years, like it just feels like humans would be like good at living in the environment.
Yeah,
they've been
and they
given.
are. Like, the world's very well established.
Yeah, I part of me prefers if it was 5, 6, 7,
Fair enough.
but whatever.
8.
I think that's the end of episode 1.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, great long takes.
Mhm.
Yeah, the flash forward, all of a sudden you meet him all these years later. Big shout out to like the subtle costume design, like, just to make
Yeah.
him feel more weathered.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously like with these kind of post-apocalyptic things, like the rebellion characters can sometimes feel pretty cheesy, like the resistance or whatever, and like they always kind of talk out of breath.
Yeah,
like there's this urgency, and there was a little bit of that, but it was done like just the right amount where it didn't really feel too exposition-y or kind of tacked on.
I take orders.
Yeah,
and so should you.
Exactly. Like everyone's just got that more military vibe to them.
Yeah. That's good.
But that was cool. And then they obviously, the basic plot is they're trying to get a car battery, I guess, to
go
fire
get
up a truck
his
to go get his brother.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know it was his brother till like halfway through the second episode.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because remember he called him to get him out, to bail him out of jail.
I thought it was just like his coworker or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think he said somewhere. Yeah, it did say it somewhere, I think. But yeah, no, it was really cool. And then obviously they get roped into, you can get more than that. You can get a truck and everything if you take this girl who's kind of like really special.
Yeah. She could have the cure in her blood.
Seems to be immune to the disease.
Yeah.
What do you think of her performance? Bella Ramsey.
Bella Ramsey, here's what I have. Enjoying her presence. I was a bit taken back by her attitude to start.
Yeah.
But honestly, like and that's why we like to do 2 episodes, because by like halfway through the second episode, like it's really tough to find the balance of doing like a dopey kid who just follows, or a kid who knows everything and can solve everything, and they're striking that balance and giving her that attitude, gives her that foil a bit, gives her that banter with Pedro Pascal, and she feels like a character who has flaws.
Yeah.
And she's doing an incredible job performing it.
Yeah.
I mean, not an A+, but like
a few little lines here and there that are a bit like, you've been raised in this world of danger, so you should be a bit more accustomed to like being reckless with your behavior.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But aside from that, good. Not really her fault.
No, absolutely not.
But yeah, just
and
the one thing. Yeah,
she's not taking me out of it, and I think she's doing an incredible job.
Yeah.
What do I got? Yeah, we talked about amazing world. Like it feels so desolate, but like so real.
Yeah, like the guns feel really good. Like they're all faded, and obviously a big part of the game was like the limited supplies, and like you really feel that as they're kind of picking things up along the way. Like you're getting supplies. It's like, oh, that's going to come into it later. Like flashlights, weaponry, bandages.
I love how they they set the tone of what these quarantine zones look like. Like the child arrives, tests positive. Yeah. And the next scene, they're crazy. Dumping the body in fire. And then the scene after that, Pedro Pascal, or people are getting hung.
They're pretty organized, and like there's a new law system in place. And
like people are getting hung, and then Pedro Pascal is like dealing narcotics. I was like, what am I watching right now? Holy shit.
He's like a construction worker in the previous scene. I think that's like what they hint his job is.
Oh, he just like picks up jobs, right?
Contract jobs.
Then
on his truck it said like ex-military. Desert Storm or something like that. So he's like the perfect candidate to survive, which makes sense why he would like have that resourcefulness to still be kind of around. But yeah, he was just incredible. Like, just have to give him a shout out.
Like
I was very skeptical when they first casted him. I don't know what it was. He just didn't rub me the right way, but
he's blossoming into like an incredible actor.
Yeah, he really is.
I have a note here, like, you might not like this, but like certain shots or moments where the HDR increases, the contrast shoots up, becomes really sharp, and it looks like a video game.
Yeah, so much. Like when they all kind of scatter into a new environment.
Yeah.
And
it's like, exactly. And then it kind of zooms into them. Yeah. Like, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
It might be a gimmick, episode 5, 6, 7.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But as of right now, like, again, like what a beautiful way to show that, like, we're paying respect to this video game, and like, we recognize it's a video game, and now let's present what we would perceive our rendition of the story.
The other scene that really reminded me of that was the water, like when they had to trudge through.
Oh, yeah.
It was just like so video gamey.
Yeah.
Like establishing the rules, and it was great. Nice, a nice little touch, but nothing too much. And even like the creeping and the being super quiet, like kind of having to jockey around walls and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very much like the video game.
The clickers, we saw clickers, right? Yeah. Those things are fucking scary, dude.
They're loud and unpredictable.
Yeah, and they got
venomous and nasty.
They're scary looking.
Yeah.
Like.
And then just like alerting, like a hive. It's like the hive mind thing. You kind of touched on that when you step on it, and it can like trigger a response from a long way away. Even the way she like, sacrificed herself, like very video game like as well.
The I do have a question. You don't have to answer this if it is a spoiler, but maybe it's not, about transmission. Now, is it only by bite? Because you talked about it could be spores in the air.
I think that's certain. Like they kind of do that little jokey thing where she's going through the different types. Where she's like, "There's some that do that, right?"
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of foreshadowing because I believe some of them have the ability to do that. They have these like bulbous heads.
Yeah.
They like burst with spores.
Okay, but
Not like everyone has
the
that
initial
ability.
20 years ago, the initial infection was not spread through the air. Because then, like, are people just immune to the air spread now? That was my bit confusion.
Yeah, like I don't think it is airborne. Like I do
Okay.
think it's like a bite transmission
Okay.
situation, unless maybe you have like a wound and you would like rub it on you. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it's like a bit loose, and obviously some of them have the spore ability, but I
Okay.
think the spores die quickly.
Okay, so like
So,
the
we've
old
established that the fungus does die after a while.
Yeah.
So it always needs to like find a living host eventually. Yeah.
I liked I wonder if they'll do this for episode 3, but episode 1 kind of going back into the past. Episode 2 kind of takes us to Indonesia at the very start, 2003.
It's not a
If episode 3 takes us because I like to explore the Day Zero stuff. I find that really intriguing.
Yeah.
And like the build up to like, oh, now we realize something bad is happening.
I forgot about that whole sequence.
Yeah.
The Indonesia thing. Like that was just riveting.
Yeah, it was
Like,
terrifying. Then.
It was like vibes of like Chernobyl, like
Yeah.
that level of like intensity in the filmmaking.
So I wonder if we'll get that in episode 3, or is that kind of it? I would love to see more of that.
I think that seems like it's the MO. Like once an episode, you'll get like a little piece of information.
Yeah.
Kind of like in a video game, there's like those optional things you can find. Like,
Little side
find all the
quest?
tape recorders.
Little sidey.
Yeah. I think
Find all the tape recorders.
there are like logs in the game. I'm pretty
Nice.
sure. Very Bioshock.
Nice.
Recording log 474.
Patient is not responding.
Ah!
Yeah, I mean that's really about what all I wrote down. Like
Same.
it was just so enjoyable.
It really was. It was just great. I can't wait for more. I feel super satisfied. The action scenes were really good.
The tension, the world building is incredible. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey,
Yeah.
great.
I think I would go as far as to say it's like I can't remember the last time I saw like an opening 2 episodes that good. Like
Yeah.
it was a long time.
It's been a while since I've been like
I'm trying to think like
so we lasted 2 episodes of Rings of Power. We're like, oh, but the second episode was pretty good. Like
Yeah.
looking for the next one, but this one I'm like, I fucking need more right
Yeah.
now.
it just feels like that was a special moment. Like I feel like it's going to be a very critically received show,
Mhm.
and they're going to deliver because it just seems
It seems
everything
like
seems like
it
it's
seems
got
like they
time.
got time. They're taking their time.
Yeah.
They got a plan. Everything's fleshed out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I also looked up just so you know it's going to be 9 episodes.
Nice. Yeah, viewers. I mean, if you've made it this far, I'm thinking you've already watched it. But if you haven't, get on this show for sure.
Mhm. One other thing. Oh yeah, some very quick factoids before we go.
Mhm.
This is expected and reported as the largest TV production in Canadian history because it was like all
Nice.
shot in Alberta, not actually Vancouver at all.
Okay.
9 episodes, and the score was done by a guy called Gustavo Santiola.
Mhm.
He did the show, and he's doing the TV show.
He did the video game.
Or sorry, he did the video game.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah, a couple
like
of
that.
factoids for you.
Hi, nice factoids.
All right, guys, thanks so much.
Yeah,
Thanks for
well,
tuning in.
this has been before and after the TV show, episodes 1 and 2 of The Last of Us.
Yep,
Um,
it's been a lot of fun.
it has been a lot of fun. Check it out.
Definitely
watch the
watch
show.
If you're on the fence, if you haven't played the game, doesn't matter.
Oh,
That's one
that's the other
thing
thing.
you should say.
I want to play the game now.
Play the game.
I want to play it.
I'd say at this point, finish the show.
No, I want to jump into the game.
No, because then you're gonna be struggling.
I don't give a shit.
All right, dude. This guy's crazy.
I'm going off the rails. No, yeah. Speaking as someone who has not played the video game, I've seen a glimpse of it here and there. Like, it's just great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Okay, Tony. You know you have to do it now.
It's great.
Right on, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I've been Aman.
I've been Antony.